Picture this. It's late at night. The WNBA offseason is supposed to be quiet. Players are resting. Fans are waiting. The basketball world is in hibernation mode. And then a single Instagram post drops. No warning, no context, no explanation. Just Kelsey Mitchell, the Indiana Fever's leading scorer, the engine of one of the most exciting backcourts in the entire league, posting 4 words that sent shockwaves through women's basketball. Eyes open, mouth closed. That was it. 4 words, 1 picture, 0 clarification. And immediately, chaos. Phones started buzzing from Indianapolis to Los Angeles. Group chats exploded. WNBA Twitter went into full meltdown mode. Sports analysts who were supposed to be sleeping suddenly found themselves scrambling to their laptops, trying to figure out what in the world was happening. Because when Kelsey Mitchell speaks, the league listens. And when she speaks in riddles, the league panics. Within minutes, the speculation was out of control. Is she leaving? Is Indiana done? Is the Fever backcourt, the most electrifying duo in women's basketball, about to shatter before our very eyes? The rumors didn't walk. They sprinted. They multiplied. They consumed every corner of basketball social media like wildfire through dry brush. Fever fans refreshed their feeds obsessively. Rival fan bases couldn't contain their excitement. Hot take artists started drafting their "I told you so" threads. Everyone assumed the worst. Everyone except one person. Because while the world was spinning out of control, while the speculation reached fever pitch, while so-called experts were already writing the obituary for Indiana's championship dreams, Caitlin Clark was watching, processing, and preparing a response that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. For words from Kelsey Mitchell broke the internet. But what Caitlin Clark did next, that's when the whole league realized they'd underestimated her. Again, before we get to Caitlin's response, the one that silenced every critic and rumor monger in seconds, you need to understand exactly why Kelsey Mitchell's cryptic message sent shockwaves across the basketball world. Let's get something straight right now. Kelsey Mitchell isn't just a role player. She isn't just a complimentary piece. She isn't just Caitlin Clark's teammate. Kelsey Mitchell is a heartbeat of the Indiana Fever offense. She's speed personified. She's buckets on demand. She's pressure when the game is on the line, and everyone else is tight. During the 2025 season, Mitchell led the entire Fever roster in scoring with 20 points per game on 45% shooting from the field. Let that sink in. On a team with Caitlin Clark, arguably the most hyped player in WNBA history, Kelsey Mitchell was still the leading scorer. That's not an accident. That's dominance. And her value goes way beyond the stat sheet. Watch how defenses game plan against Indiana. They can't just load up on Clark because Mitchell will burn them. They can't sag off the perimeter because Mitchell lives for those open looks. She creates spacing just by existing on the court. She draws attention just by being in the building. For Caitlin Clark specifically, having Kelsey Mitchell as a running mate is like having a pressure release valve. When teams try to suffocate Clark with double teams and boxing ones, Mitchell punishes them. When Clark needs a breather, Mitchell carries the load. When a moment gets too big for young players, Mitchell's veteran presence steadies a ship. This isn't just a basketball partnership. This is a basketball marriage. And the thought of it ending? Unthinkable. Now here's the thing that made this moment even more painful for Fever fans. They had already been through so much heartbreak. All winter long, all spring long, they waited for the WNBA season to start. They waited to see Caitlin Clark cook. They waited for 44 games of logo threes and dime passes and arena-shaking performances. And what did they get? 13 games. 13. Injuries robbed them of the full Caitlin Clark experience. And now, on top of that disappointment, they were supposed to stomach losing Kelsey Mitchell too? The one constant? The one reliable piece? This wasn't just about basketball anymore. This was about everything the Fever had sacrificed to build. Everything they had promised their fans. Everything they had shown glimpses of before it was cruelly taken away. Losing Kelsey Mitchell wouldn't just be a roster move. It would be an organizational catastrophe. It would validate every critic who said Indiana was building a house of cards. It would prove that Caitlin Clark couldn't keep her team together when it mattered most. The stakes couldn't have been higher. And the vultures? They were already circling. But here's the thing about moments like these. They expose who people really are and what the critics wanted to happen next. It says everything about the toxic forces that have been lurking around this league all season. Now, let me tell you about the real villains in this story. It's not a single person. It's not one hot take artist or one jealous rival. It's something bigger, something uglier, something that's been festering in and around the WNBA since Caitlin Clark first put on a Fever jersey. It's a culture of doubt, a culture of negativity, a culture that seems to actively root for failure, specifically the failure of the Indiana Fever experiment. Think about what Caitlin Clark has faced since the moment she was drafted. Before she played a single professional minute, the narratives were already forming. She's overhyped. She only gets attention because of what she looks like. She doesn't deserve the spotlight. Her teammates are going to resent her. And those whispers, they never stopped. Every single game, every single press conference, every single social media post, the vultures have been circling, waiting, hoping, praying for something to go wrong. When Clark had a tough shooting night, they said she couldn't handle the league. When she excelled, they said she was getting favorable treatment. When her teammates succeeded, they said it was despite her presence. When the team struggled, they said the locker room was fractured. The goalposts moved every single week. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would have made these critics happier than seeing the Fever implode from within. The too many egos narrative was already written. The Clark can't coexist storyline was already drafted. All they needed was one crack, one sliver of evidence, one moment of doubt. And then Kelsey Mitchell posted 4 cryptic words. Oh, you should have seen how fast they pounced. Eyes open, mouth closed. That's coded language, they said. That means she's being silenced. That means she's unhappy. That means she's done playing second fiddle to the Golden Girl from Iowa. Within hours, the speculation was everywhere. Which teams would trade for Mitchell? Would she demand a sign-and trade? Was this her public declaration of independence from Caitlin Clark's shadow? Some people were celebrating, literally celebrating. Fans from rival teams flooded comment sections with laughing emojis and told you so energy. Media members who had been waiting for this moment started drafting think pieces about what went wrong in Indiana. The consensus was forming in real time. The Fever dream was over. The backcourt was broken. The organization had failed. And here's what made it so insidious. Nobody waited for facts. Nobody waited for context. Nobody waited for an explanation. They just assumed. They assumed betrayal because that's the story they wanted. They assumed conflict because that's what generates clicks. They assumed the worst because assuming the best doesn't trend on social media. This is the environment Caitlin Clark has been navigating all along. A media landscape that profits from her failure. A vocal minority of fans who seem personally offended by her success. A constant, relentless pressure to prove that she deserves what she's earned. And in this moment, with the rumors multiplying, with the vultures circling, with the entire basketball world waiting for the Fever to fall apart, that pressure reached its peak. But the critics made one critical mistake. They forgot who wears number 22 in Indiana. They forgot what Caitlin Clark is made of. They forgot that every time the world expects her to crumble, she rises. Because while the world was panicking, while the rumors were multiplying like wildfire, Caitlin Clark was watching, processing, preparing a response that will remind everyone exactly why she's built different. If you want to understand what Caitlin Clark did next, you first have to understand who Caitlin Clark really is. Not the highlights, not the logo threes, not the sold-out arenas and broken viewership records. The character, the leadership, the steel in her spine that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. Let's go back to Iowa. Caitlin Clark didn't just play for the Hawkeyes, she carried them. She transformed the program. She filled arenas that had never been filled. She put women's college basketball on the map in ways that hadn't been done in decades, maybe ever. But here's what people don't talk about enough. She did it while being the most scrutinized player in the sport. Every game was a referendum. Every performance was analyzed under a microscope. Every interview was dissected for hidden meaning. Most players would have crumbled under that pressure. Most players would become guarded, protective, focused only on self-preservation. Caitlin Clark became a leader. She learned to block out the noise. She learned to control what she could control and release what she couldn't. She learned that responding to every critic is a losing game, but responding the right way at the right time can change everything. And when she entered the WNBA, that leadership was tested like never before. The transition to professional basketball is hard for everyone, but for Caitlin Clark, it came with an extra layer of complexity. She wasn't just learning a new game, she was navigating a new ecosystem, one where some people wanted her to succeed and some people wanted her to fail, one where her mere presence generated controversy, one where every action was interpreted through a lens of pre-existing narratives. Lesser players would have tried to shrink, would have tried to make themselves smaller, less visible, less threatening to the established order. Caitlin Clark took the opposite approach. She elevated her teammates, loudly, publicly, consistently. Watch the footage from this season. Every time Kelsey Mitchell hit a big shot, Clark was the first one celebrating. Every time Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, Clark was hyping her up. Every time a role player made a play, Clark made sure the world knew about it. This wasn't calculated PR. This was authentic leadership. See, there's a difference between stars who tolerate their teammates and stars who genuinely love their teammates. The tolerators do the bare minimum. They share the ball because the coach makes them. They give credit in press conferences because it's expected. They show up to team events because it's mandatory. But the genuine ones, they celebrate their people like family. They defend their people without hesitation. They create an environment where everyone feels valued, seen, appreciated. Caitlin Clark is a genuine kind. And that's what made this moment with Kelsey Mitchell so significant. Because leadership isn't tested when everything is going well. Leadership is tested when the pressure mounts, when the rumors fly, when the world expects you to protect yourself at the expense of your people. In that moment, with the speculation reaching fever pitch, with critics salivating at the prospect of internal conflict, Caitlin Clark had a choice. She could stay silent, let the situation play out, protect her brand by maintaining distance, or she could show the world exactly who she is. Show the world that her loyalty isn't conditional, that her love for her teammates isn't performative, that she doesn't compete with the people on her side. She elevates them. Caitlin Clark has been preparing for a moment like this her entire career. Not the basketball moments, the leadership moments, the moments when a team is tested by forces beyond the court, and she was about to prove that every bit of trust the fever placed in her was earned. Because as the rumors reached fever pitch, as the speculation became unbearable, Caitlin Clark picked up her phone, and with 5 simple words, she changed everything. The hours between Kelsey Mitchell's cryptic post and what came next were absolute chaos. I mean genuine, unfiltered, internet-breaking chaos. Fever fans were in shambles, checking their phones every 30 seconds, doom scrolling through comment sections, looking for any shred of clarity in a sea of speculation. Meanwhile, the rest of the WNBA fan base was having a field day. Rival supporters flooded social media with takes. Some were concerned, genuinely worried about what this meant for the league's most exciting team. But let's be honest, a lot of them were celebrating. A lot of them had been waiting for exactly this kind of moment. Called it, they typed. The Fever were always a house of cards. Caitlin Clark can't keep a team together. Kelsey Mitchell finally had enough. The narrative was forming in real time, and it wasn't kind. And here's what made it worse. Complete silence from the Indiana Fever organization. No press release, no statement, no damage control, no context whatsoever. The team's official accounts stayed quiet. The players stayed quiet. The coaching staff stayed quiet, which, of course, only made the speculation worse. Why aren't they saying anything? Fans asked. If everything was fine, they would clarify, right? The silence is confirmation. Something is definitely going on behind the scenes. You could feel the tension building through the screen. Every minute that passed without explanation added fuel to the fire. Every refresh brought more hot takes, more theories, more pessimistic predictions. The questions kept multiplying. If Mitchell leaves, can Caitlin Clark carry this team alone? Is the Fever's championship window closing before it ever really opened? Was a dream always too fragile to survive real adversity? Different camps started forming in the comment sections. Some defended Mitchell's right to privacy. She can post whatever she wants, they argued. Y'all are reading too much into this. Cryptic posts aren't crimes. Others demanded answers. She knows what she did, they countered. You don't post something like that without expecting a reaction. If you're going to shake the cage, own the consequences. And then there were those who seemed almost gleeful about the drama. Pass the popcorn, they typed. This is better than any reality show. The Fever are imploding, and I'm here for it. The basketball conversation had become a cultural phenomenon. This wasn't just about a roster move anymore. It was about narratives, legacies, the future of the most visible franchise in women's basketball. The pressure had reached a breaking point. Someone had to say something. Someone had to step into the chaos and either confirm the fears or silence them forever. The whole world was asking questions. Nobody had answers. The Fever's future hung in the balance. And then a notification appeared. Caitlin Clark had just commented on Kelsey Mitchell's post. The internet froze. Fingers hovered over refresh buttons. Breath was held across every time zone. What did she say? What could she possibly say that would make this better or worse? And when the words finally loaded on screen, everything changed. What she wrote was so simple, so direct, so devastatingly powerful that it made every single rumor, every single hot take, every single vulture look absolutely foolish. I need you to understand the weight of this moment. The entire basketball world was watching. Millions of eyes on screens. Thousands of takes already written. The narrative was calcifying. The Fever were done, the backcourt was broken, and Caitlin Clark was about to lose her most important teammate. And then she typed 5 words. Just 5. Let's go, Kels. That was it. No defensive explanation. No panic clarification. No engagement with the rumors or speculation. No lengthy statement trying to calm the masses. Just pure, unwavering, unmistakable support for her teammate. Let's go, Kels. Let me break down why this response was absolutely genius. Why it instantly separated Caitlin Clark from virtually every other player who has faced similar situations. First, and this is crucial, she refused to dignify the rumors. Think about what a lesser leader would have done. They would have written something like, just to clarify, Kelsey isn't going anywhere. Please stop speculating. Or, I don't know why everyone is panicking. Everything is fine. Those responses seem reasonable on the surface, but they have a fatal flaw. They give the speculation legitimacy. They acknowledge that the rumors were worth addressing. They put you in a defensive posture. Caitlin Clark didn't play defense. She celebrated. By simply writing, "Let's go, Kels," she communicated something profound. There's nothing here that requires explanation. There's nothing here that worries me. My teammate is doing something exciting, and I'm hyping her up. That's it. That's the whole story. The rumors? Irrelevant. Not even worth mentioning. Second, and this reveals deep emotional intelligence, she showed unshakable confidence. A worried teammate would panic. An insecure star would try to protect their image. A player who felt threatened by Mitchell's cryptic post would create distance, maintain plausible deniability, wait to see how things played out before committing to a public stance. Caitlin Clark did the exact opposite. She ran toward her teammate, not away from her. She attached herself publicly and permanently to whatever Kelsey Mitchell was doing. She bet on the relationship when it would have been safer to hedge. That's not something you can fake. That's genuine trust, genuine love, genuine leadership. Third, and this is the part the critics never anticipated, she sent a message to the entire league. "Let's go, Kels" wasn't just a comment. It was a declaration. It said, this team is locked in. You cannot divide us. You can speculate all you want, spread rumors all you want, hope for drama all you want. But at the end of the day, we are united. We are family. And nothing you write on the internet is going to change that. Every other team in the WNBA saw that comment. Every front office, every player. They all received the same message. The Fever locker room is unbreakable. Fourth, and this might be the most beautiful part, she put Mitchell first. Caitlin Clark could have made this moment about herself. She could have used it to emphasize her own leadership, her own importance to the team, her own brand. In a culture that rewards self-promotion, she had every opportunity to center the narrative on number 22. Instead, she simply hyped her teammate. Let's go, Kels. Not let's go, Fever. Not we're locked in. Just pure, undiluted support for Kelsey Mitchell specifically. That's selflessness. That's real teamwork. That's the kind of energy that builds dynasties. Now, let me tell you what the truth actually was. Because as the dust settled and the context finally emerged, the entire narrative collapsed like a house of cards in a windstorm. Kelsey Mitchell wasn't leaving the Indiana Fever. She wasn't demanding a trade. She wasn't walking away from Caitlin Clark. She wasn't signaling unhappiness with the organization. She was announcing her participation in Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 off-season league that gives WNBA players a platform to compete, grow, and showcase their talents during the winter months. That's it. That's what Eyes Open, Mouth Closed was about. Mitchell will be joining High BC for Unrivaled's second season, playing alongside Sonia Citron, Ezzy Magbagor, Natisha Heedman, Saya Rivers, and M.O. Billings. The team would be coached by Rena Wakama, the Chicago Sky assistant who has earned tremendous respect around the league. Season 2 of Unrivaled was set to kick off January 5th. It's a chance for players to stay sharp during the off-season, a chance to grow their individual brands, a chance to build chemistry with different teammates and develop new skills in a unique competitive format. This was an opportunity, a celebration, a moment of growth, and the entire internet assumed it was a betrayal. Think about the dramatic irony of that. Millions of people convincing themselves that the Fever were falling apart, when the reality was the exact opposite. Mitchell was investing in her development, preparing to come back even stronger for Indiana, expanding her game in ways that would benefit the franchise long-term. Caitlin Clark knew the whole time. That's why she wasn't worried. That's why she didn't engage with the panic. That's why her response was celebration, not defense. She wasn't relieved when the truth came out. She already knew the truth. She was just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. And when they did, the scramble was something to behold. Hot takes got quietly deleted. Think pieces got revised. Critics who had been celebrating the Fever's implosion suddenly had nothing to say. Meanwhile, Fever fans flooded the comments with relief, pride, and a renewed appreciation for what Caitlin Clark represents. In a league full of noise, full of egos, full of players who would have used this moment to distance themselves or protect their image, Caitlin Clark chose loyalty. Loudly, publicly, permanently. And the ripple effects? They were just beginning. Within hours, the entire narrative around the Indiana Fever had completely flipped. What started as Fever implosion became Fever unity. What started as backcourt broken became backcourt unbreakable. What started as critics celebrating became critics scrambling for cover. The transformation was almost disorienting. If you had checked social media during the panic phase, and then again after Clark's comment and the truth emerged, you would have thought you were looking at two completely different stories. Because you were. The first story was fiction. The second was reality. And reality painted a picture of a team that is far more unified, far more committed, and far more dangerous than anyone outside the organization understood. See, here's what the context revealed. Kelsey Mitchell wasn't alone in joining Unrivaled. Lexi Hull was competing. Aaliyah Boston was part of it. Multiple Fever players were using the off-season to sharpen their games, grow their platforms, and invest in their development. This organization isn't tearing apart. It's building together. Think about what that means for the upcoming season. You have multiple core players gaining competitive reps during the winter, building conditioning, testing themselves against elite competition, coming back to Indianapolis with fresh experiences and expanded skill sets. That's not a team in crisis. That's a team preparing for something special. And Caitlin Clark's response symbolized the culture they're building. In an era where stars often stay silent during a moment of controversy, protecting their image, maintaining plausible deniability, waiting to see which way the wind blows, Clark's willingness to publicly support her teammates set a new standard. She didn't hedge. She didn't calculate. She didn't consult with PR teams or strategize about optimal messaging. She just loved her teammate out loud. The social media reaction after the truth emerged was overwhelming. Fever fans who had spent hours in anxiety suddenly released all that energy in celebration. This team is different. CC is a real leader. We're going to be a problem next season. Even neutral observers acknowledged what they had witnessed. Analysts who had jumped to conclusions quietly walked back their takes. Commentators who had questioned the Fever's chemistry admitted they had underestimated the bond. And the critics? The ones who had been so eager to celebrate Indiana's supposed downfall? Silence. Crickets. Suddenly, the hot take artists had nothing hot to say. The rumor mongers had run out of rumors. The vultures realized there was no carcass to pick at, just a living, breathing, thriving organism that refused to die according to their timeline. But the impact extended beyond just this moment. Unrivaled as a whole represents something important for the WNBA. It's an opportunity for players to control their own narratives during the off-season, to build individual brands, to stay in the public eye year-round instead of disappearing for months between seasons. Mitchell competing in Unrivaled isn't a threat to the Fever. It's an asset. Every great performance she has on that stage raises her profile. Every highlight she creates generates buzz that flows back to Indiana. Every skill she develops in that 3-on-3 format translates to the WNBA court. This is how modern sports ecosystems work. Players grow individually, and teams benefit collectively. And Caitlin Clark, as the face of the franchise, understood that instinctively. That's why her response wasn't jealousy or concern. It was celebration. She wants her teammates to shine. She wants them to grow. She wants them to have platforms and opportunities and moments of individual glory. Because she knows that when Kelsey Mitchell wins, the Fever win. When Aaliyah Boston expands her game, the Fever benefit. When the supporting cast gets stronger, the championship window opens wider. This is what healthy team culture looks like. This is what secure leadership looks like. This is what the future of Indiana Fever basketball looks like. The rumors died. The critics went quiet. And the Indiana Fever emerged from this moment stronger than ever. But what does this really mean, not just for this team, but for the future of women's basketball? Because there's a lesson here, a big one, and it goes way beyond Caitlin Clark, beyond the Fever, beyond even the WNBA itself. Let me tell you what this moment really taught us, because it goes so much deeper than basketball, so much deeper than one Instagram comment. So much deeper than the Indiana Fever or the WNBA or any individual team or player. This moment revealed what separates good players from great leaders. In modern sports culture, in modern culture period, there's an overwhelming pressure to self-protect, to brand manage, to calculate every public move based on how it might affect your image, your endorsements, your legacy. We live in an era of hot takes. Manufactured drama, constant search for conflict. The media ecosystem rewards division because division generates engagement. Controversy gets clicks. Chaos keeps people scrolling. And athletes know this. They feel this pressure every single day. Every tweet is analyzed. Every comment is dissected. Every silence is interpreted. The safe move, the advised move, the strategic move is usually to stay out of it. Don't engage. Don't take sides. Let situations play out before committing to a public stance. Caitlin Clark rejected all of that. When the moment required courage, she stepped forward. When loyalty meant taking a risk, she took it. When her teammate needed public support, she provided it immediately and unconditionally. That's not common. That's not normal. That's extraordinary. And it reveals something profound about her character. Something that doesn't show up in box scores or highlight reels. Something that will ultimately determine whether she becomes not just a great player, but a transformative figure in women's basketball history. Caitlin Clark doesn't compete with her teammates for a spotlight. She shares it. She amplifies it. She actively works to make sure the people around her receive the recognition they deserve. Think about how rare that is. Think about how many superstars throughout sports history have been threatened by teammate success. How many locker rooms have fractured because the biggest star couldn't handle sharing attention. Clark is wired differently. And this moment proved it beyond any doubt. When the narrative tried to pit her against Kelsey Mitchell, she responded with celebration. When critics wanted division, she offered unity. When the safe move was silence, she chose loudness. There's a bigger lesson here for all of us. In a culture that profits from tearing people apart, choosing to lift people up is revolutionary. In a media landscape that rewards drama and conflict, choosing calm and support is powerful. In a world that constantly tells us to look out for ourselves first, choosing to put our people ahead of our personal interest is transformative. Caitlin Clark modeled something that young athletes, young people period, desperately need to see. You can be the biggest star and still celebrate your teammates. You can be the most scrutinized player and still refuse to engage with negativity. You can be under constant pressure and still choose loyalty over self-protection. That's the template she's creating. That's the standard she's setting. And for the Indiana Fever specifically, this moment crystallized something important. This team isn't just talented, they're connected. They aren't just skilled, they're loyal. They aren't just promising, they're principled. Championships are won by organizations with cultures like this, not just rosters with talent, but locker rooms with trust, not just players with skills, but people with character. The Fever are building something special, and Caitlin Clark is building it on the right foundation. Loyalty over convenience, unity over division, team over individual. That's the kind of energy worth celebrating. That's the kind of leadership worth modeling. That's why this team isn't just building a roster. They're building a legacy. And everyone who watched this moment unfold, they learned something important too. They learned that the rumors don't define reality. They learned that quick judgments often miss the truth. They learned that the loudest voices on social media frequently have the least accurate information. They learned that patience and loyalty still exist in professional sports. They learned that Caitlin Clark is exactly who she appears to be. Caitlin Clark didn't just shut down rumors with 5 words. She showed an entire generation what it means to lead, what it means to love your people, what it means to choose loyalty when the world expects selfishness. And if you've made it this far, you're not just a fan. You're a part of something bigger. So let me ask you something. When you clicked on this video, what did you expect? Drama? Betrayal? The inside story on how the Indiana Fever were falling apart? I hope you got something better. I hope you got a story about loyalty, a story about leadership, a story about what happens when superstars choose to lift each other up instead of tear each other down. Because that's the real headline here. Caitlin Clark shocks WNBA with her reaction to Kelsey Mitchell leaving. Nobody expected this. You're right, nobody expected it. Nobody expected a young star to respond with 5 simple words and change the entire conversation. Nobody expected loyalty to be louder than rumors. Nobody expected a moment designed to divide to become a moment that unified. But that's Caitlin Clark. That's what she does. She defies expectations. She silences critics. She leads when leadership is required and celebrates when celebration is warranted. And the Fever? They're just getting started. Kelsey Mitchell is sharpening her game in Unrivaled, preparing to come back even stronger. Aaliyah Boston continues to develop into one of the most dominant forces in the paint. The supporting cast is growing, improving, building chemistry. And Caitlin Clark is leading them forward, every step of the way. The haters wanted a breakup. They got sisterhood. The critics wanted implosion. They got unity. The doubters wanted evidence that this team couldn't coexist. They got proof that this team is unbreakable. Now I need something from you. If this story moved you, if you believe in loyalty over drama, if you respect real leadership, if you're excited about what the Indiana Fever are building, smash that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps this message reach more people who need to see it. Subscribe if you want real WNBA coverage, not manufactured drama, not clickbait controversies. Real stories about real players who are changing the game. Drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are the strongest backcourt duo in the league? What moment made you realize this team was special? And share this video with someone who needs to see what real leadership looks like. Someone who's been told that sports are just about individual achievement. Someone who thinks loyalty doesn't exist anymore. Show them they're wrong. The Indiana Fever are proving something important. Every single day, every single game, every single Instagram comment. They're proving that the right culture, built on the right values, led by the right people, can change everything. Welcome to the Fever era. And trust me, we're just getting started.